having everybody here is how we get to hear Sean's voice and how we, you know, we can't do it alone.
Why people and families fought for brokerage to exist in the first place. People outside of the system, basically at that time, 14, 15 years ago, helping people think about what else other than services in the system.
For those people that would choose that, who really want to direct their life and they want to have a voice, and even if their families are saying, we'd like our family member to have a stronger voice, that having that third party that's not aligned with any kind of services in the system to have the main role of helping make that voice louder in whatever way, make it clearer, that's a huge support and leads to people directing their lives further.
That people and families don't necessarily agree. And even if somebody is not able to say that, there's lots of ways that they tell that story. And they need to be listened to in different ways and respected the same way you would to that family who is struggling.
Sean's had the benefit of having some independent facilitation through the Windsor Essex Brokerage, and because I don't think it's ever about a piece of paper. I think it's about the process we go into. We might have some goals and we're trying to reach them and we're trying things, but inevitably we try a whole pile of things that don't work, and you try some other things, or things evolve, and then you need to change it up. So I think life's about a process, and I think anybody who's doing any kind of facilitation knows that.
A path is a tool we often use when we're doing these type of meetings. It's very visual, and it has sort of the goal, the ultimate goal, and then real concrete next steps, and who's going to do what by when, all leading towards the goal that Sean has laid out.
We can't expect that there's going to be a lot of money out there to buy stuff and people. So therefore, how do we figure out how we get by with the people that we know? And the thing about that is that it's got to be based on what do people got to offer, and how do you invite people in so that exchange can happen, and how do you find the places where people can bring what they have to offer.
As people started to share about Sean's gifts and his strengths, and that's when I saw the light in Sean's eyes come back.
Nobody has to do it on their own. If I had to run this farm on my own, I'd be yanking my hair out, but as a team, it's a piece of cake.
Being at Joseph's and picking up on all the possible relationships that are there, but how those relationships could be broadened, and that is a role for brokerage.
Tonight is a perfect example of how well this whole group thing works. Just getting together to be with Sean is important too.
Yeah, very.
So I mean, Joel's getting old enough, we'll get a gluten-free keg and we'll get
There are people that really do care about Sean, and what's been hard is you know, just inviting them in.
The rejection or the possibility that somebody wouldn't want to come is really hard.
It's so hard to even get to go out for a coffee sometimes with people, right? So this is huge, asking people to come to a 3-hour meeting or a 2-hour, or just inviting them in.
How to invite people, and how does it not become a ton of work? We'll put out the ask if that's hard for a family.
So we figured out some stuff to talk about, but how I found the actual meeting to go was that people's stories were really rich. There were some new faces in the room that we hadn't been to any of our meetings before. They contributed a lot and some really deep stuff, so I think they felt safe. And I think that was, for me, the beginning window of re-asking them again to come again another time and maybe come a little bit more formally in the future if we can ask for that from them. And I think they seemed on board.
So of course I'd like to thank everyone. It means so much to us to have everybody here because we love everyone here in this room. And I have been talking about wanting to do a meeting like this for a while because I've been feeling that Sean's been wanting more, and he's telling us, and having everybody here is how we get to hear Sean's voice and how we, you know, we can't do it alone because I just find that your ideas and are so rich and things that I might not even think of, and being his mother, you know, I might not see everything.
I think one of the things that we need to be doing is speaking with some of the people that Sean knows outside of the typical group of people that we know already, and begin to engage with them to maybe be a part of his life in a different way than just real casual acquaintances. And so there is some work for the facilitators to do.
They'll be like, hey Sean, and then I'm like, oh God, like who is that or whatever, and then you quickly turn around and it's, oh, I met Sean out, he was bowling the other night and I saw him with so-and-so, or so I mean, it may be making connections through the relationships he's already formed through some of his workers. Like making it a point to hook up with those people versus just happening to bump into them.
Darcy always said Sean's the only person that would listen to him learning, and so Sean just comes over and Darcy jams, and together Sean's a doer, and I don't have a lot of people in my life that like to do things, so we play bingo together, we've gone bowling together, we go skating together.
Sean, what you have given me is the belief in myself in many, many, many things. And your total trust in that. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart.
If people are having to have paid supporters in their life, there's a lot of work that has to be done around person directs things and people being able to listen in all kinds of different ways if a person doesn't have a voice on what it is that they really need.
Because team meetings are typically about keeping the paid people moving in the right direction, making sure that everybody is consistent in their delivery of their support, and consistent using the communication device, and lots of, you know, any little things that need to be ironed out, we iron them out.
We have support workers that are working, but sometimes it's so difficult to figure out where he has so many health issues that it's hard to determine what is hurting him at the time. So a lot of the times we're needed even just to put our heads together to try to hear what Sean's trying to tell us.
I think that he definitely has more choices available to him. He's not limited to what people have picked out or done. It's not as tedious figuring out his calendar. And you know, Sean has always wanted to communicate. It's so important to Sean. He's always trying to communicate. So I think it's pretty exciting. I think it's not as easy as people think for all of a sudden somebody to pick it up and do it. And I think that they've had some coaching. They're trying to stay on the same page as a team.
With his apartment, that was a big thing. Like, luckily I know how to do a lot of work, so it didn't still cost a lot, but actually it's been great. You know, he knows it's his, and he'll come up for a while, but most of the time he likes his apartment. He likes to be there.
I know that you need paid people in his life to support him, but it would have to be somebody there that, you know, he had a relationship with. Absolutely. And people do want to be there. And it means a lot to them. So, yeah. So I'm going to start asking more.